Hi guys, this is Anderson and this is the second episode of the Metal Chatter. I know I'm terrible at giving names to things, but all the good names I thought about were already taken, so this is it, Metal Chatter number 2. And this time we're going to talk about Metal Blade Records. I'm reading, actually not reading because it's an audiobook, so I'm listening to a new book by Brian Slagle where he tells the story of how he created and developed Metal Blade Records. So I got inspired to do this one showing my 5 favorite Metal Blade Records releases. I also have a lot of honorable mentions here. And remember, if I don't show a record that is a great metal album, it's because I don't own it. So I can only show here what I own in my own collection. Okay? So let's start. I cheated a little bit because I couldn't leave one of the albums out of the top 5, so it's actually a top 6, but with 2 albums tied for the 4th position. And at number 5 we have Mercyful Fate in the Shadows. This is the comeback album by Mercyful Fate. As you know, they split up after Don't Break the Earth, then released a compilation few years later, Return of the Vampire, but this is the actual comeback album from 1993, In the Shadows. It's a great album and features one of my favorite Mercyful Fate songs called Is That You, Melissa? Number 4, we have 2 albums tied, and it's Armored Saint, Symbol of Salvation from 1991, and Liege Lord, Master Control from 1988. So I think Armored Saint is a great band. They released 3 awesome albums in the 80s, but I think their finest hour is Symbol of Salvation from 1991. It's heavy, the vocals from John Butch are great, and if you haven't listened to it, you should check it out. Symbol of Salvation by Armored Saint. And Liege Lord is almost the same thing as Armored Saint. They have 2 other excellent albums. It's Freedom's Rise and Burn to My Touch. But I think that their best is Master Control. You have songs here like Fear Itself, the title track, and the awesome cover of Kill the King from Raybon. Number 3 and number 2 were very difficult to choose from. I couldn't decide which one would get the best position out of them, but I had to make a decision. And number 3, we have Omen, Battle Cry. For me, they are an institution of American heavy metal. If you want to know what US heavy metal is, Omen is one of the bands that you have to listen to, and this is my favorite album by them, Battle Cry from 1984. You have songs here like Death Rider, The X-Men, and the title track, Die by the Blade. It's a classic album of American heavy metal. The second one, it's not the classic cover, but it's actually a new reissue of it, but it's Warlord and the Cannons of Destruction Have Just Begun. I know a lot of people prefer the EP Deliver Us, but I always liked more the vocal delivery of Damian King II, the singer here. And you have great songs here like Lost and Lonely Days, Child of the Damned, Deliver Us, songs that were also part of the EP, and I think this is the best version. Don't get me wrong, although I don't have the EP, I really like it, but I just think that And Cannons of Destruction Had Just Begun is the best Warlord release. And in the first position, we have... Actually, it's funny, because I had to change my number 1. When I was doing the list, I put an album there, then I came to pick them up from my collection, and then I realized I don't have this album. And this happened because When I was back in Brazil, I had to, because of some problems I have to sell part of my collection, and I sold all my thrash metal records, and I didn't buy them back yet. So this was one of them. I'm talking about Slayer, Show No Mercy, the debut album by Slayer. So I had to take it off the list, but the next one to be number one was easy because it's either Show No Mercy or Hell Awaits by Slayer. And to me, Show No Mercy is the best, but Hell Awaits follow close. You cannot go wrong with Slayer first two albums because it's thrash metal, but it's also heavy metal. If Slayer was a new band, I would put them on my channel and not on the thrash metal channel because they are seminal thrash metal, but this is still heavy metal, and this is something that some people don't understand about bands that are not straight traditional heavy metal when I put them on the channel. Because if you look back to the early 80s, all bands that played like heavy sound, they were considered heavy metal. The labels speed metal, thrash metal, they came after to describe bands that started sounding like them, but the pioneers, they were only heavy metal. So when I put a band on the channel that is not straight up traditional heavy metal, try to understand that when I started this channel, even if I put the name New Wave of Traditional Heavy Metal, I was thinking more of a broader old school heavy metal definition instead of only traditional heavy metal. So Hell Awaits is my number one for the Metal Blade Records releases. It should have been Show No Mercy, but Hell Awaits is a proper choice as well. And now for the honorable mentions. The first one, we cannot talk about Metal Blade and don't mention this one, is a Metal Massacre compilation, the number one, the first time Metallica appeared in a record. And you have also great bands here like Malice, Sirif Angle, Bitch. On my copy, of course, is Black and Blue, not Steeler. Here are other Metal Blade Records releases, but they are out of order. It's not chronologically. To make this episode, I had the help of an article on the Colosseum website talking about Metal Label Records, because it would be really complicated to research it for myself because as you know, they are a label from the 80s, so they reissue a lot of stuff originally released by other labels. They also license some stuff from European labels. What I wanted to show here was only albums originally released by Metal Blade Records. But let's continue. These two, Hellstar, Distant Thunder, and Nosferatu. Another album by Omen. This is Warning of Danger. Sirif Angle, One Foot in Hell. 3 albums by Fate's Warning. The Spectre Within. Awaken the Guardian. And No Exit. Another of the Liege Lord albums, Burn to My Touch. Savage Grace, The Dominatress, the EP, and After Fall from Grace. If Master of Disguise were a Metal Blade release, it would have been on my top 5. The debut by Tyrant, Legions of the Dead, and their best album, Too Late to Pray, are also originally released by Metal Blade. Trouble, Psalm 9, or the first self-titled Trouble album, if you prefer to call it that way. Nasty Savage, the self-titled album. Trust, Feast Hell High. And last but not least, Little Programmed from 1990. So this was it, guys. This was my take on Metal Blade Records, my 5 favorite releases from the albums that I own, this is very important, of the Metal Blade Records catalog. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you soon on the next Metal Chatter. Leave on the comments suggestions for the next theme, and bye-bye.